Romans 8, verse 31. What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? Hello everyone, and welcome back for another day of page 1. And we're going to be reading about Elijah the prophet, found in 1 Kings chapter 18 and 19. And in chapter 18, we see that Elijah challenges the prophets of Baal. And it's a bold and courageous move on Elijah's part, because he's one man versus 450 prophets. And I call this the challenge of the two bulls. And you can read about that in chapter 18. But Elijah boldly and confidently declares, demonstrates, and displays the power and splendor of God as the consuming fire. And the people who were there to witness this miraculous thing were amazed and actually fell down in worship towards God and called him the Lord Almighty. And Elijah, in his victory, ends up seizing and executing all of the 450 prophets of Baal. And this is just a powerful, powerful ministry or manifestation of the power of God. But in 1 Kings chapter 19, we see the introduction of Jezebel. And from that, we start to notice a difference in Elijah. And let's read together in verse 1 to 3, which says, And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, also how he had executed all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow, about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and ran for his life, and went to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. When I read this, I was so amazed and so confused. Elijah has just won this amazing victory, and Jezebel threatens to kill him. And the first thing that Elijah does is run for his life. How is that possible? After seeing the power of God, declaring who he was, how can you run for your life by the word of one woman? And the answer that I found to that was fear. Fear is what led Elijah to run into the wilderness, to flee for his life. And from that place of 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, we see that he actually ended up in a cave. He felt alone, he felt abandoned, he wanted to give up on his life. And in 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 9 we read, And there he went into a cave and spent the night in that place. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said to him, What are you doing here, Elijah? God asking Elijah this question in the cave is very, very powerful and important, because it shows us that Elijah was not meant to be in the cave or in the wilderness. And God was trying to call him out of that, but fear is what led him there. This is important because it shows us that fear will steer you off course and will lead you to go into hiding. So how, when I find myself in a cave or in a wilderness of fear, anxiety, loneliness, and despair, how do I get back on course? How do I retrack or get myself aligned with God again? And this is found in verse 11, where it says, God is speaking to Elijah saying, Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by. The solution to fear and cave and wilderness moments in our lives is to come out of hiding and stand before the Lord, that he might reveal himself to you through the still small voice, that he might give you hope, direction, vision, and confidence. We see that in the story ending in chapter 19, where Elijah was given hope, given vision, given direction, and God wanted to call him out of hiding and said, Come and stand before me, stand in my presence. God never left Elijah in the wilderness, never abandoned him in the cave. He rather revealed himself and called Elijah out of hiding. What we can take out of today's devotion is that when we acknowledge God and we see him revealed before us, we will see that God is for us. And if he is for us, then who can stand against us? From that place, we receive life. We receive hope for the future. And we can always know and remember that we are highly favored and deeply loved of God.